back to school time, which means life just got really busy again. So just imagine coming home from a long day to a nice healthy meal already cooking for you. And all you have to do to achieve that goal is to grab a bag out of your freezer, dump it in the crock pot, and set it and forget it. So in this video, I am sharing 7 of my favorite dump and go recipes that you can prep ahead and freeze. You'll save time, money, and your sanity. So let's go get cooking. Okay, so because we are a family of 3, I am actually going to be making 14 of these freezer meals and dividing all of the recipes into 2 separate dinners. If you are a smaller family of 3 or 4, you can definitely do that. These recipes feed about 6 to 8 people. So the first thing I like to do is get organized and fill out all of my bags that I'm going to be freezing in. And just to save myself the time, I am not only writing the recipe name, but also the instructions. So once I've done that, I am actually just getting all of the bags that are going to have chicken, because I figure while I'm cutting up the raw chicken, I'll just do it all in one shot. So that is the white chicken chili, the gumbo, and chicken pot pie soup. So I have 6 bags here. So I have about 4 pounds of chicken breasts total, and I'm just going to divide it as evenly as I can between the 6 bags, just cutting it all up into bite-sized chunks. So now one thing that I choose to do with these meals is blanch the potatoes. Now it is definitely an optional step, but I do recommend it. What blanching the potatoes does is stops the enzymes from forming that cause a lack in flavor and texture and makes the potatoes really mushy when they've been frozen. So if you don't mind slightly mushy potatoes, then feel free to skip this step and save your time. But what I'm working on here is our ham and scalloped potatoes. So I have about 12 of these potatoes that I am just thinly slicing. And then I have an ice bath next to a boiling pot of water. And I'm just going to cook the potatoes in the boiling water for a minute or 2 max. And then just transfer that over to the ice bath to stop the cooking. So while the potatoes were cooling, I am chopping up some ham, about 4 cups worth of like a thick cut ham. You can either buy one of the boneless little mini hams or ham steaks. So I've dried the potato slices and I'm just dividing those between 2 bags. And you want to keep the potatoes in the bottom because then they will get covered with all of the sauce and everything and won't brown. So then on top of the potatoes, I am dividing 8 ounces of cheddar cheese and then that ham. And then for our cream sauce, I have 2 cups of milk and 2 10.5 ounce cans of cream of chicken soup, as well as some thyme, salt and pepper, and I'm just going to whisk that together and again divide that between the 2 bags. So now to cook it, I thawed it the night before and I just greased my slow cooker with some oil. And I'm just going to dump that all in there and just try and even out the potatoes so that they're a little bit more layered and not all over the place. And I like to add some extra cheddar cheese on top, but that's optional. And we just want to cook on high for 3 to 4 hours or on low for 6 to 8 hours. This is just the ultimate cheesy meat and potatoes comfort meal. It tastes just like having scalloped potatoes out of the oven and really reminds me of a holiday dinner. And we also love serving it with a dinner roll or a biscuit. And of course, some sort of steam-in bag frozen veggie to keep it really simple. So now we are going to move on to my Salisbury steak meatballs. So I have 2 cups of water, and to that I am adding a packet of beef gravy and a packet of dry onion soup mix, or 4 tablespoons, as well as 2 tablespoons of ketchup and 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce and some black pepper. We just want to whisk that all together. And then I have this 2-pound bag of frozen meatballs that I'm just going to divide between 2 of our Ziploc bags and just pour that all over the top. This one is super, super easy, but so good. Okay, so then to cook it, I have mostly thawed it out, and I'm just going to dump that in the slow cooker. It's okay if it's still a little bit frozen. This one works fine from frozen, but we just want to cook on low for like 5 to 6 hours. And then I'm mixing 2 tablespoons of cornstarch with a 1/4 cup of water, adding that in and cooking an additional 10 to 15 minutes or until it's nice and thickened. And we love serving this over some nice egg noodles. And of course, your veggie of choice. These meatballs are so decadent. The gravy just comes out perfect, and it's just excellent on a bed of buttery egg noodles because they really catch all of that gravy. So now moving on to my chicken pot pie soup. Now, again, I have potatoes that I am blanching. I'm trying to not jump around all over the place on you guys, so I did blanch these potatoes right after the scallop potatoes, and that just saves you time if you can do these things in batches together. But I don't want to make it too confusing, so I'm showing you one recipe at a time. So those are blanched and cooled. I have my chicken cut up in the bag already, and to that I am dividing 1 small diced onion, those potatoes, and a 20-ounce bag of frozen vegetable mix. And then I have 8 cups of chicken broth total. I actually had to do it twice because I didn't have a big enough measuring cup. And to that I'm just adding some garlic powder, poultry seasoning, salt and pepper. And we're just going to pour that on top of everything in the bags. So then the day of, I thawed the soup most of the way again. Just adding that into the slow cooker. And we just want to cook that on low for 6 to 8 hours or on high for 3 to 4 hours. And then I am just going to mix cornstarch and heavy cream together and add that to the soup and cook it an additional 10 to 15 minutes or until it's thickened. And again, we're just serving this with a nice biscuit. This is one of my all-time favorite soups. I have a stovetop version that I make as well, but it's just so cozy and comforting and perfect for fall. So now moving on to the white chicken chili. Again, the chicken is already cut up in the bags. And to that I am adding in about 1 cup of diced celery and 1 small onion and just dividing them. And then I also have some corn, a can of diced green chilies, 2 cans of white cannellini beans, and then I'm just seasoning them with garlic powder, cumin, coriander, and salt. And then 2 cups of chicken stock divided. So then the day we're cooking it, you just want to thaw it and cook on low for 5 hours. And then again, I'm just adding in some cornstarch and milk or heavy cream. Or you could also do water and just cooking an additional 10 to 15 minutes or until it is nice and thickened. This again is just so comforting, really stick to your ribs and great to serve with some cornbread. So now moving on to the gumbo. Again, I have the chicken divided between the bags already. And I have 1 pound of andouille sausage cut into half moons, as well as 2 bell peppers and 1 small onion chopped. And I'm just dividing that all between the 2 bags. Then I have 1 can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. And then I'm adding in some Cajun seasoning, about a teaspoon in each, as well as some thyme and smoked paprika and garlic powder. And then I just have 4 cups of chicken broth that again I am dividing between the 2 bags. So now the day of cooking, we just want to thaw it again and cook it on low for 5 to 6 hours or on high for 3 to 4 hours. And then I am just combining cornstarch with water and adding that in and cooking for an additional 10 to 15 minutes. And I don't know what happened to my footage of the final shot of my gumbo, but let me tell you, this stuff is incredible. Really great for like a game day, watching a football game. Serve it with some rice and you have a perfect, complete meal. So now we're going to make my super simple apple barbecue pork tenderloin. So I have 1 cup of barbecue sauce that I am combining with 1 cup of applesauce, as well as some garlic powder and salt. And we're just going to whisk that together. And then I have 2 pounds of pork tenderloin. This actually was a pack that had 2 separate 1 pound tenderloins, which was perfect. Just adding those to the bags. And then pouring the apple barbecue sauce on top. Super, super simple, but packed full of flavor. So then to cook it, we are just going to thaw and cook on low for 6 to 8 hours or on high for 3 to 4 hours. This pork is absolutely fall apart tender. It's so, so good and a perfect flavor profile for fall. I love serving this over buttered noodles, but there are plenty of different options. You can even make a sandwich out of it. That would be really good. So now, last but certainly not least, is my Balsamic Dijon pot roast. So I have 2 cups of beef stock, and to that I am adding in a 1/4 cup of balsamic, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of Dijon, and some salt, rosemary and thyme, and some freshly cracked black pepper. We just want to whisk that all together. So then I have some more blanched baby potatoes that are whole, 2 onions, and about 6 carrots just cut into chunks, and I'm dividing those between the bags. And then I have a 4-pound chuck roast that I'm just cutting in half to, again, make 2 separate meals. And then we just want to pour that sauce all over the top and freeze. So now the day of, it is thawed, and we're just gonna cook this on low for 8 hours. With pot roast, I always recommend low if you can, because that's what's gonna get you really nice, tender beef. So then when that time's up, I'm just removing the pot roast and the vegetables to a board and covering with foil. And I am just going to ladle the juice out and put it into a fat separator. And then on the stove over medium heat, I have a saucepan, and I'm just going to pour that juice in and then make a slurry of cornstarch and water and add it in there and just cook for about 5 minutes or until our gravy is nice and thickened. And then we just want to slice it or pull it apart and serve. Look how incredibly tender this is. Oh my gosh. I'm drooling right now. A perfect Sunday roast meal already ready to go in your freezer to just dump and go. I really hope you enjoyed coming along and making these 7 dump and go freezer crock-pot meals with me. Now, as it said on the thumbnail of this video, all of this prep took me about 2.5 hours or so. I was taking a lot of breaks in between. My toddler needed this, that, and the other thing. It was nap time, so if you have a dedicated window of time to really sit down and do all of this, you could probably get it done in an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours max. It is definitely a system I am trying to get in the habit of doing more often because weeknights are just crazy busy, and it just feels so good to be able to just spend time with family at the end of the night cooking away in the kitchen with tons of dishes to do. This is just so fast and easy, and I really hope you give it a try. If you do, definitely leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of these dishes. Thank you so much for watching until the end, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.